For €290, over €23,000, you can buy a 7-seater car in Ireland now. That's right, the Dacia Jogger. And today we're going to have a very quick, early look around it. And I'm not going to take it for a test drive. Somebody that you may have seen on the channel before is going to take it for a test drive, but we'll get to that in a second. So if you can imagine kind of a Sandero at the front, that's what the car is like. Shout out to Leash, by the way. That's a kind of a clue as to who'll be driving the car. If you stick a port in front of it. Around the side of it, you get massive practical roof rails that, by the looks of them, yes you can change the direction on them, because Dacia make life easy. In here there's a raised roof ceiling to make just the back space, because that's the thing about 7-seaters, the back seats in particular can be quite cramped. This is the mid-spec, if I'm guessing, because it really is a very quick dash grab look at the car. The boot stretches out a little bit, so you might want to be careful in terms of where you're going to park a car behind you. Rear seats fully up. This is the boot space, not the biggest, but these seats come out and they weigh 10 kilos each. So how easy is it to flip them? Yeah, that's pretty good. Same here. Grand, and you just unhinge them in here and down they will go. Then you have a bigger boot, obviously. Now I'm going to flip the camera around, because actually I'm just going to use them as a crash test dummy as well. Can we fit a taller man than me in the rear seats? Hang on 1 second.
The Leash man's right, it's okay. Joe Malin Motors, this is your car, just so you know if you're watching this. We're going to try and get into the back seat. So into the final row of seats. I'm 6'1".
Fit windows or real windows?
These are real windows. They're push-out windows on that end, but we'll try it. They don't open. So I take it you drop that.
Yeah.
And then you must lift, oh, you lift the whole thing up. The whole thing goes up. Okay, here we go. Into the back. Oh yeah, you'd fit all right. Now, my toes. That was, I didn't mean to drop that, but that's the way it has to go. And then the seat post around the edge. Okay. Ah, yeah, I would, yeah. You fit in that, yeah, for sure. For 23.5 grand, you'd sit in that and be happy enough about it. I hate those seat belts though. I don't know where to put that. I never know what you're supposed to do with them.
What's your leg situation?
I have space in my knees. My toes are slightly under the seats. Like, you wouldn't want to be dropping the seat down top of your knees. And I noticed that the tonneau covers under my feet here, it actually fits in at the bottom, so there's a place to cover that. 12-volt sockets, shopping bag hooks. There's some lights back here, some storage there as well.
He's probably pretty good at this. You should do it more often.
I should review more cars, shouldn't I? No, it's alright.
Get out like your Paris Hilton or running at some award ceremony.
Hang on, I'll spread the legs here. Hold on a second. Get out like I'm Paris Hilton. It's a success. It's a success. We're good. I got in and got out. Plenty of room. Tons of room for that money.
Middle row. Oh, this bench is quite high up actually. It's now good. That's probably why they have such a cut out into the roof, so you do get loads of space, but you're definitely sitting more high up. And I suppose taxi drivers are probably interesting people for this type of car, because the price is fantastic. It's going to do airport runs for you. And your middle passengers, as long as these two front seats, like a lot of cars, aren't very, very far back, you'll be okay. But in Dacia, keeping things simple spirit, there is a 12-volt down here, and that is about it. You're not going to get an armrest because of this middle seat. And there's only Isofix on the outer seats, so something like the Peugeot 5008 will have them across, but that costs an awful lot more than €23,000.
You know the way in what you call it, the newsmen? I've taken up yogging. I know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't dress like Clarkson, but this is the interior. I'm taking a Clarkson moment, here to say this. Interior wise, you get everything. This is the higher spec one, so you actually get a little media screen in the middle. On the entry level one, your smartphone goes here, you plug it in, and your smartphone uses a Dacia app, and it becomes the app for your smartphone. So you don't miss out much by getting rid of this, other than what they've already got built into it. And the rest is very manual. So you have manual air conditioning on all models. And this one has climate control, so this is the middle model or the higher model spec than that. Again, plastics are pretty good. Seating position is a little bit high. I suppose you feel high in that seat, but that's because you're trying to push the room back into the seats behind you. Get more room in there as well. SOS button on the top. It's got everything. USB port, which is up here, and there's a 12-volt socket down here. So like, there's nothing really missing out of it. Tiny little engine, but there's a hybrid one on the way as well later on next year.
So Bob, one thing both of our channels try to do, because we're independent, we can do whatever we like.
Correct. Support the independence.
Yes.
Subscribe. Both.
Please do. We're going to talk about the Endcap rating on the Duster, which has a what's it called?
Jogger.
We're going to talk about the Endcap rating on the Jogger, which is 1 star.
1 star. Endcap have taken the rating from the Sandero and transposed it onto the Jogger because they're supposedly the same underneath, but actually this is an extension. It's a bigger car, it's a heavier car, it's 200 kgs heavier. It's actually a different car. And then they take points off for not having ISOFIX in the back, not having things like City Safe, or the little things that you might not ever notice you've even got on your car. They take it away, and that lowers the amount of stars on, until eventually they've got themselves down to 1. But this car isn't crash tested. This particular Jogger has not been crash tested by Endcap. They're just transposing the points onto it from Sandero.
And what were the guys from Dacia saying? Because one thing I picked up today was they totally believe in the Endcap system, but just for context for this car in particular, they wanted to be clear that they don't think the goalposts are as they were.
That's what it was. Very bullish today. They very aggressively were saying that Endcap was possibly wrong. Maybe needs to re-examine their position on this particular car. They've attacked the Zoe as well. The Zoe got 0 stars in the Endcap now, but that was moved down from I think 3. I think it had 3 to begin with. They moved some airbags, moved some things around. That changed the star rating. So Endcap itself possibly needs to examine its own methods for whether there's going to crash the cars or not, because it's the crash test, what we all talk about, right?
Yeah.
You want the first 3 stars, you want the passenger occupancy safety, child safety. You have that with the ISOFIX, but because there's 2 more seats in this, no ISOFIX in the back, they lose a star.
Yeah.
Even though it has 2 ISOFIX seats, so it's kind of complicated.
I don't know about your channel, Bob, but when I do review a Dacia, someone will often bring up the Endcap, and when you actually delve into the research on the Endcap, and their website is brilliant, you can go through models and every different bit of detail. A lot of the time, and I'm not saying obviously pedestrians are a huge important part of the automotive industry, and you have to design a car that has them in mind, but quite often where the car will lose points is because it doesn't have frontal collision avoidance.
Yep.
But again, the context of today's conversation, and it is something that you can't really argue with, if you want to pay this price for a 7-seater, there has to be compromise somewhere, and that's what the Dacia brand is about. That's what their brand stands for.
There was a really good point that Jeremy made as well, is that there is no direct new car competition for this car in that price segment. 30 and below, there isn't a 7-seat car. You would have to go to 4 and 5 year old used models to find something in the price range of this. So keeping it in that 30 grand mark, where I know it starts a lot cheaper now, but even the top spec one is under 30 grand. There's nothing else 7-seat you can buy at that price range. If you want safety, you're going to have to spend up to double on that to get anywhere near this.
So that is the Endcap situation covered. I think the guys at Dacia would like a bit more transparency, really.
Transparency.
Yes.
You need it, Endcap.
But let's find out, is there a driving reason why a €23,000 7-seater in Ireland isn't good value for money?
Yeah, let's go. Come on,
Who's driving? Me?
You drive.
Again, if you've sat into a stepway in particular, the floating tablet as Bob mentioned, so you kind of get that vibe. It is a higher seating up position. We've all the mod cons you might like, including climate control and aircon. So that's the mid-spec upwards. Mind the ramp.
Steady hand, it's okay.
So engine-wise, it's just the one petrol at the moment. Isn't that right, Bob?
That's right. It's true, yeah. There's a 1 litre petrol, 110 horsepower. Then there's a hybrid coming next year.
Okay. So an obvious question might be, for if you did have this thing fully with passengers with 110 brake horsepower, be enough? It might be a bit sluggish, and I'm just talking from experience because we don't have 5 extra people sitting in the car. Initial takeoff might be an issue. I'm sure once you're on the move it's okay. That could probably also affect your fuel economy, but at the moment it's averaging about 8 litres per 100 kilometres from this 1 litre petrol. There's actually a bit of feedback in the steering. It doesn't feel as long as it is. There is a bit of noise off the tyres, a bit of road noise. Yeah, fair enough. But really, like, as most Dacia reviews, it just comes down to the price, and it's like you can get all this space for a few £100 off 23,000 euro, and that's what it's going to boil down to. And as we've said earlier in the video, there isn't really anything to compete with that. So what you going to do? That's a big bump. What's it like into a corner? Let's just... And it is actually torquey enough. It's okay. Like, we're now going downhill, so it's definitely going to be okay. Brakes. Yeah. Why wouldn't apply a good bit of pressure again if you've got all the precious cargo on board? But because, what is it, 1,200 kilos? It doesn't handle particularly badly for the length or the size of it. Put it this way, I'd rather go on holidays in Spain and rent one of these than, what was the one a few years ago? It was like a Logan. A Logan. If this takes the crown of the Logan, that's a very, very good day. Oh Jesus, that's a tighter. Okay, what's it like on sharp turns? Right.
We're about to find out because we're doing sharp turns.
onto a very dangerous main road. Ah! Okay. Yeah, turning circle, that might leave a little bit to be desired.
Just testing the brakes.
But yeah, look, I think this car could do very, very well because 7-seater market, I don't think it's quite done yet. And everyone had lots of action during lockdown. So there could be more babies than people were bargaining for. So a 23 grand 7-seater, that could actually be just a big necessity for some people very, very soon. So that was a nice last corner turn.
It was, yeah, you missed it, overshot it entirely, but it's fine. It's right well, even as a 7-seater, it actually did a nice job there.
It's not even bad looking, like it's...
No, I think it's good. Like, I can't find a good reason to say why you shouldn't buy it. Do you know what I mean? There's no good reason for me to say, no, don't buy this, buy something else. Because there is no 7-seat in the market at that price. It actually can seat 7 full-size adults. I got in the back of it. It's fine. It was in there. It's got a touch screen. It's got sat-nav. It's got cruise control.
CarPlay. All the... If it was 40 grand, yeah, you'd find things. But
absolutely. We did drive a car the other day. It was 40 grand. I couldn't figure out why it was, but it's 40 grand now. Here's a car that's under 30 grand and has more seats. Like, buy it.
Go
There's no
figure.
reason not to buy it. Just figure that one out.
I probably wouldn't ask your dealer for discounts because I don't think they're going to have the volume.
I'd say it's costing them money to sell them now.
They're losing money on it.
Losing money on every sale. No, it's probably not.
Anyway, if you like these Dual Up reviews, leave comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Bob's channel. You probably already are anyway.
You should be if you're not. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be subscribed to both of us. It's Irish support, Irish independent creators. That's how you do it. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Like.
Exactly. And he's a bit of a thing on TikTok as well, if you want to go follow him there as well. Anyway, over and out. Next week, actually, we're going somewhere. We can't talk about it. We've got to sign our lives away.
I know we're going.
But we will have a pretty exciting car on our channels soon.
We'll do a dual one of that as well if you like it, so subscribe.
Talk to you.